This is going to be more of a free talk because I usually think about what I say, contrast to popular belief. But here goes. So you know those times where you're only having to think about the thoughts you're saying, and they're not going to have to say anything else? That's basically me. If I'm going to think anything else than my own thoughts, I won't have to be saying anything else. And it's not that I don't think at all. But if I'm thinking too much, then there you go. Honestly though, out of all due respect, I'm not even thinking at all. But I'm not thinking about anything else. So are you thinking right now? I am thinking about something else, in all honesty though. And out of all the passion I could ever have in the world, you're not having to think to me at all. You're thinking too much though, but I think too very much now, so. And how so? How am I even thinking that much thought? To be thought for thinking. It's not enough at every other passion at every other time of the day that I have to go through these things. If I'm gonna have to be very honest with you, I don't care. And I really didn't. Not that video ago, not since. And it was not going to be given that much time to think it through. But, in all honesty though, being very curious with it as well. It's not at any of these other dooms and mistakenly that we are. I'm not giving that much more thought. But I would try to. I'm not trying to be that way anyways. If we're going to be anywhere okay than that, then be okay so. And I do love her. I don't know why, but I do. It's not every day you would think like this if you would actually think this through. But I do love her. I miss her very much, and I don't even know her, but I'm proud of her. And every day that I keep thinking about things like this, I wouldn't have to be saying it, so. But at the bottom of my heart, I love people like this. I love people like her, and I'm proud of people like us, and her, and you, and all the same. Thank you very much for that free write thought. Holy crap, man. Holy shit. Here. Oh boy, free write thinking round 2. This is not enough to say, but it's going to give it enough of its own impression. If I'm going for anything right ahead, you know as well as I do. I'm not the scaredy cat here. I'm not giving it much more impression, though. It's not going to give it any more of a thought to an impression. As is any shade of a light. As is shining your own light, bright and starry skies. Thinking above, out of a clear essence, in nature. I'm not going to go right ahead, though, but it's not giving that much more of an attention. Of a mind, of a given essence that I'm not giving to it, being blind, imparted with, from, into, and to go, foregoing into place and dimension. For that it is in even its own thought, for even giving its own attention. In mind, I'm not going to think that through, but it's not going to give you even much more of an impression that I'd have not into this session. Nature. Go right ahead. No, seriously, go right ahead. Do you know what I am even trying to do right now? I give it much more of its own attention in mind. You might have to question that, and as you would instead, giving it much more of its own beheading, ahead of it in mind. I'm not afraid though. I never was, never would have been, but there were times in even their own ways instead, have they not been in their own favor of a nightmare to come for ways of being. I'm being truthful here. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know who I am, who I'm scared of, why I'm scared of it, and who it would be at that point. You know what I do though? I try my best. I'm not someone who's afraid of himself. I'm not someone who's afraid of her, or even myself. What would I know about that kind of love? Am I scared of her? Am I scared of myself? What do I know about this life? What do I know about her that makes more out of this life misunderstood, genuine behold, given a cross for made of that confrontation? I love her. I really do. But I can't stand her at the same time. Maybe that's what makes me better than most people in this point. You can't get enough of the free ride thinking. This is not given attention for what is not even an impression of how I have an obsession. Well, I do have an obsession. It is about her. But what do you know about? It is not even given an impression of how it is and how I must understand these things to the point that I could and never had to will ever have it and it could. It's not that I had no impression of that thinking, for what it is not in an obsession. I'm not giving you that much of a session, though. I'm just thinking through, thinking a thought alone, for what is in its understood impression. I'm not thinking thoughts, thinking a thought through thought, of a thought thinking think thought through. I have an impression. I observe that astounding way I understand my impression. I'm thinking thoughts through, thinking them thought through, thinking thoughts through instead of their understandable, outstanding impression. Outstanding enough for what it is, having that impression of thinking thought. Thinking of the thought through, thought of the impression, outstanding withholds of the impression instead of the outlandishly landing in hold of an impression. It's thinking a thought. Thinking the thought through, thinking and processing the thought through. Thinking it now, thinking it forever, thinking in mind and question of how that is instead. I am the thinking the thoughts of the processes thought through of the thinking of the thought. Outstanding outlandish impression, outlandishly horrendous impression of the outstanding. Nightmarish enough, outlandish, instead of impression of thinking the thought through, enough of the outstanding impression of the thought through. Thinking this thought through right now, thinking an impression, in question, in mind, how, and through the thought through, impression of thought, thinking the thought through, thinking them now, thinking them later, thinking the thoughts through, in the impression of the outlandish nature, of the nightmarish nature, of the natures in question of the mind, instead of the nature. Natures in question, natures in question, natures in question of the mind and the thought through, thinking the thought through, and of the nightmares in question. The nightmares in question, forever understood, in the now, of the not nature, forebound of the foregoing of the bound nature, outlandish in question, outlandish in bound nature of the question. Nightmarish in question, inbound thought through the thoughts in the question, of the nature of the bound in thought through, outlandish in question, natures abound in the nature of the nightmare. Nightmares of the nature inbound thought through the question of the nature of the thought through, nature of the thought, thinking the thought, processing it through, natures in thought, questions in thought, food for thought, food in the mind, out of the heart, into the system, through the canoes, out of my mind, into questions of natures, value and pursued for now, now for later, later for now. How am I through? How am I later? Give me a second to be anew. I have no idea what this is talking about. All I know is I love her, and if I didn't love her, it wouldn't be enough for me to process this through. Because if I didn't process it through, it wouldn't be enough for now or later. How much I love this girl, and how I'm proud of her, and how so much of this time I have wasted it, thinking it through, not knowing how now or later it would have made a difference, to change my thoughts, thinking her through, not needing to be better for her or for myself to make the most of my life, even though I know for a fact that if I do something about it, it will change things forever. But here I am taking my time knowing that it will change forever, even if I don't do anything. And I take that for granted, knowing that if I take for granted the things I care about, even if I do something about it, it won't be too late. And knowing that it won't be too late is a beautiful thing. I am very grateful for the life I have now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm probably going to blow my hair up right now if I don't stop talking, so, just take care. I'm doing my best, though. Take care, everyone. I love you all. Bye. Free right thinking, free right thinking, free right. Think now, Tony. Think it now. It is not enough given the impression that I have love for this girl. Not enough for the love for the girl that I have known for a while. She is not someone I know a lot about, but if it was anything I had known about her, it is that she is a brilliant person. Someone that I admire remarkably so, and she's not the kind of person I would even think that much more solely about than even myself. You think of someone like this, and you wonder how I even keep her a secret to myself, knowing that that secret is not even more and bound for its own nature. And I'm not the kind of person who keeps secrets like this anyways. Because, I'm not alone here. Not alone with these secrets. You know why I even make videos like this in the first place? Where I think? It's not enough to think like this in the first place. Thinking it through enough is like anyways. But having to think like this is weird enough for its own right. And having to force the rest of the thoughts anyways is weird enough anyways. And then you would wonder why I would think this much in the first place. Am I thinking that through, though? Thinking enough as it stands? I do miss how these things work, and how I love this girl, and how it would be enough for me to think these things through. Thinking enough, though, I think it would be a much more a waste to not think this through. Let's not think it through, though. I'm thinking it now. Think about it now. Just thinking. Am I thinking, though? Or am I spilling my air of the guts of the sea nature? Seeing the question of nature. Seeing that through. Thinking now. I love her. I don't know why, but I do. It's not enough to think that through. That the love that I have for this girl in question doesn't dismay, nor is in the way of anything I feel for anyone else. But for that matter, I do love this person more than I ever imagined my whole life. If I'm lying about that, you can tell me now that I'm a liar. And I don't have to have any question for that to be anything else for that matter. And I don't know how I'm a liar for not knowing that too. That it would have been as much of a disgust, as much as a dismay, that I have not favored anything like this in my whole life. Do I favor anything at all? Do I favor myself? Do I have a flavor of an idea who this person is, Toad Cashman? Who this person is in question? In my question of that girl? Am I afraid of her? Am I afraid of myself? Do I question that at all? What do I question? What do I care about? What is something that I care about that's deeper than both of us combined? That could transcend what I even have in mind about her? That doesn't even matter for me. Doesn't matter at all. Or does it matter at all that I care about her? Those are the questions I have in mind. And it's not enough to have that in mind, is it? You know that there would not be enough of these things had I not have gone for anyone like her at all, to think like this, to think this through at all. In the nature of my mind. It is not absurd at all to think like this through. That I have not have any questions of mind of natures. That I have thought about this girl for a while now, and wondered about how to protect her, how to guide her, caress her, not necessarily feed her the wrong things, but to give her what she needs, in spite of what she wants. Vice versa, maybe, in question. Do you have that in mind? Is that absurd? Do we need to know these things, or is it just me trying to explain this to the world, that I care about her, that I care about myself foremost, but certainly caring about her, has made me question these things for a while now. I'm not going to go to bed soon, but for those of you still listening, most of this has been a very standard free write for me, as is a good process to free write in question. Thank you for watching this free write. I may upload the video soon, but until then, take care, and may you enjoy this. God damn, free write's weird. Holy shit. And yeah, some of that's projected. It's a long story. I'll explain it later, but yeah, that's a free write for you. Take care, everyone. Free ride, 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 free ride. No one knows the song reference. Anyways, the snake boss from Wind Waker, but whatever. Anyways, that's again Puppet again, or whatever. Yeah, one more free rides by the way. So free ride thinking, free ride thinking. Okay, okay. Not enough in question belong to the standard nature of the standardized testing. Of natures of standard belong, nature's standardized testing. Standardized testing of the standard nation belong natures of standardized testing. Of the belong nature, the nature of the standardized testing. Belong to its nature, in the recoil, paralysis demon, stretchy recoil, paralysis demon. How is this in the nature? In question of mind. Stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. In question of the nature, stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. Question the nature of the sensitivity, profound inbound in mind, and question of nature. Of the status inquiry in mind, status inquiry in mind of the nature inbound, question standardized testing. Stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. In question of the nature in mind, in question abound. Questions abound natures in standardized testing. Inbound oblong a nature, standardized testing. Stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. In question of mind, standardized testing. Stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. Stretchy recoil, the paralysis demon. Standardized testing oblong questions of nature in mind. I love her. I love her so. In mind of that question of nature. I love her so. In mind of the question of nature. I love her so much. You have no idea, guys. If this is someone that you actually know in life, you would know the same way, but you don't know her as much as I do. And maybe I don't know her either. But let me tell you this much. Do you know someone just because you know them? Or do you know them because you know who new they are to themselves, as they are new to anyone else who has never known them the way they know themselves, which they never know anyways from being new? Creepy free write, here we come. Free write thinking, here we come. Oh boy. Free write thinking time, let's go. Linear thought of the question of mind equations in the linear space of the head space thinking thought of the through thought thinking through in space thought thinking thought through thought think through linear thought of the equation theory lining, clear lining, linen in the lining, clear lining through, clarity of the skies, thinking line through line, thinking line through, thinking line, thinking line, through linen, linen in space, thinking thought through, into the space, thinking thought through, questions in mind, thinking thought through, questions in mind, thinking thought through, starry space, think thought through, think, thinking thought through of the line in the space of the think thought through, thinking thought through, thinking thought through, lying space, headquarters, thinking thought through, 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 thinking thought through. This is boring as hell. Not for me though. Thinking thought through, 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 thinking thought through. Unquestionably in mind, I do thoughtfully, beautifully, extraordinarily love this girl. Do you have any idea what it's like to be proud of yourself and someone else at the same time? I do. Wanting to be the most important person of all time is not in question for most people, by the way. You don't want to be the most important person of all time to save your life or to save other people's lives or to have something to prove even. Do it because that's who you are, Tony. Tony, you're someone who is proud of yourself because you know that if you care about someone more than yourself in this way, the way you do for this so-called goddaughter of yours, you wouldn't even know how to care anymore of anything else in the first place. But you do care about yourself. If you really want this girl, go right for her. Go all out. Screw the people in your life who don't want you to have her. Screw the people in life who are denying that for you. You get what you want. Maybe she'll get what she wants too, but that's up for you to decide. But even then, maybe you can help her, and maybe you're right that you can't help her. This is not the end of the world for you or her or anyone else. This is your life, Tony. Live it now. Live it well. Live it truthfully and profoundly. I love you, Tony. Take care of yourself, and may have a good life. And hey, maybe she'll live longer than you too, because you know she is, after all, half your age. Yowza! Guys, don't tell anyone I said that last part of the free art, okay? Thank you.